What's happening, gamers? Welcome back to Late to the Party, the review series where we review games that have been out for a while, so you know whether or not they're still worth it. Let's get into it, shall we?
Body's bullshit blazing, still my heart is blazing. If the words kill me, I don't need a new one under you. Soon you will know, we already know the smell of the game.
So today, we've actually got a special episode for you guys, because we are reviewing two games. I almost put up two fingers and two sets of two hands, but no. Two games. And those two games being Guilty Gear XX Accent Core Plus R for Steam and the Nintendo Switch, as well as Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2. I'm pretty sure it's just Rev 2. Either way, you can get that one on Xbox One, PS4 and PC, pretty much. So we'll look at that. And also the greatest part is that with Rev 2 you can actually bring that from PS4 and Xbox One to Series X and PS5. And some of you might be thinking, Gons, why would I do that? Why would I go and buy Xrd and this other game that's on Switch, the Peasant's Console, when I can buy Guilty Gear Strive for my brand new console? And I'll tell you why. Let's look at it this way, right? Guilty Gear Strive is a full-priced game. You're paying full price in whatever region you're in. These other two games are not full price. You can often find them on sale. In fact, I found Xrd Rev 2 on Steam for $4, and that's Australian. So in America, that'd be like $2, you know. And as well, I found that I had XX Accent Core Plus R XX Accent Core Plus R. I found also for around $4.50 on Steam. So you know, there's quite a bit of cash that you can save right there. The other reason is, even though Guilty Gear Strive is a full-priced game, it is also an unfinished game. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh yeah, in this new way, in this new day and age, what really is an unfinished game? I'll tell you, it's the whole reason that we have this channel. So I say it's an unfinished game because it has seasons of content planned. Now, Guilty Gear Xrd has already had all of its seasons released. There's nothing else coming out for it, no more balance patches, nothing else. XX Accent Core Plus R, you know, last released on Xbox 360 and the PS Vita, and now it's just on Switch and Steam. And there are 0 new updates. The last update that actually happened was a rollback netcode update exclusively for the Steam version, unfortunately. I really wish we would have gotten it on the Switch, but that's neither here nor there. It won't affect this review in any way. So, my own history with the Guilty Gear franchise kind of dates back till the between 2000 and 2010s. I was still in high school. I was almost reaching actually my peak weeb days. You know, I'd go around, you know, learning Japanese and watching a ton of anime, and I kind of just wanted more anime content. So I came across a little game called Guilty Gear X Advanced Edition for the Game Boy Advance, and this game, there were actually a few good fighting games on the Game Boy Advance, believe it or not, but yeah, this game and the Game Boy Advance port of Street Fighter Alpha 3 were actually what got me back into fighting games, because I just started playing other stuff and I just couldn't get back into them. But these two games, I got them on Game Boy Advance and kind of just opened up my world. And I know, look, Game Boy Advance, but you've got to believe me when I tell you that the Game Boy Advance version of Guilty Gear X had everything. Every feature was there. It's just the sprites were completely scaled down. but you know, it still had the character art and stuff like that. It still had the dramatic finishes where you could literally end someone's whole life bar at the start of the match by doing those gigantic desperation moves. It literally had everything. So like, there is an actual reason for me to have gotten back into it through that. But moving on. So I know we're a few minutes in, but I really should emphasize, I guess, that the, you know, not filthy, just casual aspect of me coming into this is because Guilty Gear is one of those games that I've never tried to play competitively. I've never really, like, I've done a few online matches and stuff like that, but it's not generally the game that I bust out to say, oh, hey guys, have you guys all played Guilty Gear? Because, like, I know most of the people, well, most of my friends anyway, that play video games don't play fighting games to begin with, and half of them don't watch anime or anything like that either. So this is like niche of the niche, you know, in terms of where recommendations come from. So unfortunately, look, most of my experience with Guilty Gear is through either surprising some friends by showing them that it's a solid fighting game, or just single player. And a lot of that is because, look, the online in Strive and the online in Plus R on Steam are amazing because they are rollback, but delay-based netcode used in the other versions of the game are terrible, man. It feels like you need to have psychic premonitions to understand when to input moves and when they'll be happening on screen. It's rough. Let's just keep it that. It's rough. So predominantly my experience is in single player modes, but that's okay in this because there is a plethora of single player modes and content for those who are there for it. I should also mention that I have no idea what bloody Roman cancels or any of that technical crap is. I just play the game. This is probably the series that I have been the most mashiest in terms of button presses. Generally because of my Street Fighter upbringing, what I'll do when it comes to a fighting game is I'll learn the special moves and I'll find out how to combo into certain special moves. And that is the extent of my knowledge. I am not trying to be the next Daigo. I'm not going to be doing these parries and these crazy crap that everybody wants you to do. I'm just going to be playing the game with the characters that I like to play as. And look, I encourage everyone to do the same. That's why I got this hashtag going on. Not filthy, just casual. And look, even like Maximilian Dude, biggest fighting game YouTuber, agrees with me. But in all honesty, like, I love this game from a casual perspective. And I think if you take it from that aspect, it is so much fun. So yeah, I might be getting off topic, but I will. So yeah, getting back into the single player thing, you know, you got your standard arcade modes, give a generalized story for the characters all to follow. You got in XX Accent Core Plus R, you've got MOM mode. So MOM mode goes through like the in-depth story. So what a lot of people don't realize is that Guilty Gear has a lot of lore, and before XR, it was mostly just gigantic pages of text that would happen in between fights to give you those exposition dumps. I think there's a lot of lore in Guilty Gear 2 as well, which is actually like a Devil May Cry style action game. You'll find that on Steam as well. I'm not sure what other platforms it is, but here in Australia, I've only ever seen it on Steam. Yeah, and then in XR it happened, and they said, hey, let's blur the lines between 3D and 2D animation, and they made an anime, so to speak. And they did the same thing with Strive. So in my opinion, that is the best way to just have lore dumps. Sure, like having fights in between everything like you do with Tekken and I guess the Street Fighter story mode and Mortal Kombat, like everything else, would be cool. But there's also something cool about just being able to sit back, have a coffee or whatever you want, not worry about having to put it down, you know, to pick up your controller and have a fight, or pick up your fight stick and whatever you want to do. You know, just have the story given to you if you're there for it. You know, I'm there for it, and I guess, look, if you're there for it too, That's up to you, but yeah. Okay, so this next bit applies to Xrd specifically. If you don't have a PC that's for gaming, and then you don't have a PC that's for gaming, you can't help it. But I would highly recommend getting the Steam version of Xrd over any other version, because look, the online play is crap, right? But you can mitigate the online on PC using Parsec. So where the online is bad, Parsec is this like network thing that holds servers. And look, I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. Essentially, it's like a remote desktop thing. But it's, you know, essentially, if there's lag, it's the two people having the same amount of lag, so that there's like the same response time in a similar fashion to what you'd see with Virtual Fighter 5, which is on PS4 right now. But yeah, I just thought I'd get that out there just as a, you know, extra little tidbit of information. If you are going to get it for online fighting, for online purposes, get it on Steam, not on PS4, not on Xbox One, or their future versions of the consoles. Yeah, so with all that being said, now that we're getting to this, I'm guessing is the tail end of the review, I'm not sure what else to say. The mechanics are awesome. In these games, you got these things that are like one-hit kills. I don't know the specifics of like Roman cancelling or other techniques that are used, but what I can tell you is that both games are fun. And yes, they are legacy games. They're not going to have the biggest online following of people playing them, but at the same time, they're good games, and they're games that you, because they're cheap, you can encourage your friends to buy them as well. And you can play online with your friends, and you know that in and of itself is good, you know, because at least then you can be certain of your connection statuses, whether you got good connections or bad connections, and you'll know straight away whether or not it's worth it playing with your friends. But yeah, I'm really struggling as to what else I can say to this, so let's just take this over to the ratings board, shall we? So look, I don't know if this has helped you make a decision, or whether this has informed you properly on a purchase of either of these two games as to why you should get them over Strive, you know, but essentially if you've got Strive and you haven't got these, a lot of people would wonder why they should. Legacy, there are techniques that you can learn from these that you can potentially carry over to Strive, you know, and there are certain things that carry over as games go on. Certain things are added, certain things are taken out. But apart from that, there's nothing much more that I can say. So I guess I really just have to review this fighting game. And you know, normally I would give it an OnlyFans, because a lot of fighting games are targeted and, you know, marketed specifically just to fans. Like Street Fighter is, Mortal Kombat is, Tekken definitely is. And, you know, I guess those are the big three in that aspect. And at a glance, I guess Guilty Gear would appear to be like the anime fighting crowd. But no, I'd have to say this is for everyone. That's my rating. E for everyone. Why not? Let's go with that.